Hello. In Empire Total War naval battles, you would have many options. There are many ships. It would be nice to bring in a full battle fleet filled with ship of the line's first rate, second rate, third rate. But those ship of the lines are expensive, comes in late game, higher tier. So most of the times, what you will use and see are gonna be these medium to small ships, sixth rate and below, or merchant ships. Regular merchant ships are Indiaman, which is very brittle, but I couldn't bring them up in the custom battle, so I'm bringing in the heavy merchant ships. Now, small to medium ships aren't really good, aren't really worth their money. All they can do would be harassing the small merchant ships like the regular merchant ship Indiaman, which is Indiaman. Other than that, you need to outmaneuver the enemy ships, but it's hard to do so because most of the times the AI and people would keep the formation, and going into the formation would be a nightmare. Now, there are two merchant ship types. One would be the regular merchant ship. Indiaman, they cannot fight for shit, so don't worry about them. But there are two specific heavy merchant ships in the Empire Total War. They are nation-specific. One would be Spanish galleon. The other would be Dutch flute. If you open them up in database, you would realize that their armor is as good as that of the regular third-rate ship of the line, and they have enough guns, and also the hull strength, which should be hit points. If you take a look at this, flute has almost the equivalent amount of hull strength as the third rate. Galleon also even more than that. So you realize that these guys, these heavy merchant ships, can easily outgun all these small to medium ships, and sometimes they can fight against third rates. I'd say they would be having a fair fight against fourth rates. So, if you want to fight this kind of enemy fleet in campaign, do you need to bring ship of the line? Not really. Now, there's this thing called Heavy Frigate. Heavy Frigate is basically fifth rate. It's between small to medium and ship of the line, right in the middle. They can easily outgun, as you can see, 48 guns, good firepower. They can easily outgun the small to medium ships and have enough speed at 17 and maneuverability at medium, so it's really hard for small to medium ships to outmaneuver fifth rate and harass them. But if you take a look at the fourth rate, which is a one step upwards, you can see that they have only 14 speed and low maneuverability, while the fifth rate has 17 speed and medium maneuverability. So this guy, even though cannot outgun the higher tier ship of the lines, but he can easily outmaneuver these guys and harass these guys. So it is very good at outfighting and harassing the enemy fleet, utilizing its maneuverability. Now, if you want to go a little bit fancier, there's this thing called Super Frigate. It's not really the official name or something, but I like to call them that way. Super Frigate is basically fifth rate on steroids. The regular Super Frigate you would see in most of the nation would be Razy. American one would be 24 pounder. These guys have a heavier gun than the regular fifth rate and has armor as good as the third rate. So you can see the hit point here. If you have watched the movie Master and Commander, it perfectly depicts the Super Frigate. So ship of the lines are, in real life, they're quite slow, not really good, not really designed to across the ocean, sail the ocean. So and quite slow too. So most of the times the ships that are patrolling the ocean, Atlantic, Pacific, things like the broad oceans, and protecting friendly merchant ships and raiding, privateering enemy merchant ships would be frigates. Now, frigates are, as you can see right here, 6th rate, small to medium ships, and maybe this one, Carronade frigate, and to outgun the enemy frigate, they came up with heavy frigate, which should be fifth rate. And to outperform those heavy frigates, now they have the super frigate. Super frigate sometimes had armor and gun that is equivalent of strength, that has strength equivalent of ship of the line sometimes. Most of the times frigates would have lighter guns than super frigate, while super frigate would have better armor than the regular frigate. So in the movie Master and Commander, you would actually see that French super frigate bounces off the British frigate's fires, while it's firing when it's firing into the British frigate, it chews through every armor that British regular frigate has. So that's the super frigate. And one of the best faction for utilizing super frigate would be Americans. Since the Americans utilize super frigate concept very frequently, they have something called 24 pounder. The spec is same as the Razy, looks the same, has the same gun, has the same hull strength and everything. But in campaign, this ship can be produced a tier lower than the Razy, and you also have the Constitution, which is nice to have. So to summarize, forget about these small to medium ships. If you have the money, just bring in the fifth rate, or if you've got some more money, Razy. Unless you're fighting against the regular ship of the line battle fleet. So this is how you utilize the super frigate fleet to outmaneuver the regular merchant fleet you would encounter. Now, as always in naval battle, it's all about taking advantage of the wind. We have to be in upwind. Upwind means that we would have it'll be easier for us to approach the enemy, while the enemy has disadvantage when they're trying to approach us because they're again going against the wind. So deploy your fleet as close to the wind direction as you can, like this, and keep moving in that direction. Okay, this is now the initial firing arc. They'll have to walk into this, sail straight into this if they want to fight us, which is on their disadvantage. Now, small to medium ships, as I told you before, doesn't hold that much of firepower and armor against us, so you don't have to really worry about these guys that much. What you need to worry about is these guys, galleons. Galleons and flutes. They have armor as good as regular third-rate ship of the line, have enough firepower. Not that much of a great of an accuracy and reload speed, but still, they can easily outperform our super frigates here. So we need to make sure that we don't we don't exchange rounds with them. We want to shoot at them while they cannot shoot at us. Now, as you probably know, you can fire in manual like this, but if you do that, the rounds always hit the enemy hull. Since now we are trying to disable their maneuverability by using changeouts, damaging their mast and sail, keep them on fire at will, otherwise they're gonna hit the hull. We want to hit the mast and sail. Okay, they're facing us. They cannot really shoot much from their bow while we are showing our broadside to them, pouring down enough firepower, full firepower. So once you shoot them, we need to keep our distance from them because we don't want to really fight them in close range. They are too heavy. So keep moving in this fashion right here. To outmaneuver them. Oh, and another thing. Since the enemy fleet currently is going against the wind, their sails are not open. If they are in the upwind position and they are moving towards us using the wind to their advantage, they would be their sails would be fully open, and that's when you want to use the chain shot. I made a mistake of using the chain shot against the enemy going against the wind. But right now the sail is not open, so even if we shoot chain shot, it wouldn't damage much. So in this case, just keep using the round shot, regular shots. See, our guys here might be walking into this firing arc right here. We don't want that. One of the good things about Heavy Frigate is that they have speed advantage enough to outmaneuver these guys, which is our heavy guys. They could be outmaneuvered or going in slight similar speed with the small to medium rate ships, 6th rate and below right here, but in that case we can easily outgun these guys, so I don't really worry about that much. I like to move him around like this right now, but if I do so, I'm moving inside enemy range, so I don't want to do that. But this guy right now has shot, so I'm gonna do that. Make sure you don't block the way of friendly ships. I just blocked this guy's path with this guy, so this guy has stopped now. Okay, the enemy admiral is dead, so there's a chance that these guys right here could break their formation and rush straight into us, which would be not ideal to us. In Empire Total War and Napoleon Total War naval battles, enemy ships start routing when they're too damaged or losing the battle, and then if you keep hitting them, they would surrender. So good way to exploit that mechanism is that focus fire upon one ship, so they surrender quickly even though they have enough hit point left to come back to fight later on, because they're gonna suffer from moral shock. Like this, surrendered. Now it's not gonna come back to battle. Now these guys are trying their best to catch up with us, but they're slow, so not gonna take that much of time. But while these guys are sluggish, slumbering, these guys might have a chance of catching up with us. Now, this guy being here is kind of a mistake because enemy has a firing arc towards here, and here. We don't want to get inside the enemy firing arc. We want to hit them while they cannot hit us, which is this position. Second round shot. Now I'm moving around to shoot the guns loaded on the other side. Shoot, come on. You might want to move this ship around this direction to put fire upon them, but that has a chance of blocking this ship's way to move. Okay, this guy's moving first. After this guy moves, I might do that. Okay, now this ship doesn't have a chance to block the direction of this ship right here, so I'm gonna move around. I wanted to shot at this ship right here, but this ship right here is also in range, so if I had fire at will button on, then because this firing arc was moving in this direction and had this ship inside the range first, the auto fire will fire upon them, which should result in lesser damage because it's far away, and this is not really the ship that I want to shoot at. I want to shoot at this ship right now. So what you want to do is wait till the firing arc, the enemy ship you want to shoot at is in the center of the firing arc, and then enable the fire at will again. That's how you manage to do the focused fire. You want to do this one too. Shoot. There you go. You could do the manual fire, but the accuracy shit doesn't really deal as much of a damage as using the auto fire, so just keep it on auto fire. This one too. This one's gonna come inside the range first, so I disabled it. This is kind of a mistake too, because as I said, enemy firing arc is here, so this ship might have a chance to shoot this one. You think Empire Total War and Napoleon Total War battles are too sluggish, but in real life it was about 3 times slower than this, so still is fucking slow. If you play Dart mode, they somehow tried to go for realism, making the ships even slower than this. So if you're using Dart mode and want to play the naval battle, just open up the database and edit some of the speeds and turning speed maneuverability of the ships. Now all these 3 ships I can fire on this one, so it could, if we're lucky, it's gonna surrender. No? Okay. I could try to turn around here, but if I do that, they're gonna catch up with us. This is a right way to counter these kind of outplaying maneuver. If I'm exposing my rear of my ship here, so far these ships were too slow to counterattack our rounds, counterfire, but these ships are fast enough and they can actually shoot into the rear of our ships, which will result in far more damage and more shock. Now this ship is a bit isolated, but I'm not really worried because this one is facing against a sloop, small ones. Now remember, focus fire. Enemies are fast, so the situation you want to avoid is being tangled. We don't want this to become a dogfight, so focus fire on the ships closer to you first to make them surrender or disabled. There we go. If you're advancing forward, yeah, the side that is being exposed would be bow, not the rear end. But right now we're doing the outplay, so we have to expose our rear to some extent. So that's one of the reasons why you need heavy frigate and super frigate. You need a ship that can take some beating. Okay, this guy is gonna get surrounded if I don't take care of these guys first. See that this ship is going against the wind and cannot really go that fast. Now what you can do here is that just since the enemy line is too deep into this side, I can be in a relative upwind position trying to advance to here. Cutting the ships on the back of the enemy line is surprise. But doing this ship right here is mistake right here. It's walking straight into the enemy firing arc. It can get take fire from this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. So if you want to do this, make sure you don't get tangled in between and go through it as fast as you can. Even if these guys recover their senses, recover their bravery and try to engage us again, yeah, like this, they're gonna have a hard time coming back to here because they will be going against the wind if you do so. There we go. One of the features of the super frigate is that it has relative superiority against the small and medium ships, as I told you. So it can work as a bully if you walk into these dogfights, except for this one. This motherfucker should be avoided at all cost. Just in dogfight, make sure your rear end is not that exposed. Yeah, like that. But it's fine. We can just keep him. He's gonna get out of this mangled mess soon enough. Okay, he's out. Since what we want to do is protect his ship to make sure this guy recovers his morale around here and come back to fighting, I'm gonna advance this guy right here to stand against them. Bye bye. Great firepower. Okay, it has recovered. My goal is stay the fuck away from this guy. And I'm gonna keep harassing these guys running away. So time to move in this direction. If this is Napoleon Total War, this would be a perfect time. If this guy recovers moral again, then it would be a perfect timing and location for this guys to start repairing its hull. Since the enemy is out of range, you can run away if he wants to because it's faster. Yeah, this is the thing that you should avoid. See, great broadside shot on the rear of the ship, and now it's flickering.
Has run out of courage and is fleeing. If you can maneuver a ship close, they will certainly strike their colors in surrender, rather than face the fury of your guns once more.
Don't move towards this direction right now because this guy might put out nasty rear end shot to this guy. Ah, fuck it, too late. Okay, this guy will also recover its morale because these guys are not following this guy. Alright, now is a perfect time to use chain shot against them because they are on full sail. So I'm gonna do just that. I'm gonna shoot chain shot into them because now their sails are all full open. There we go. Again. No, too far away? Okay. Ah, fuck. Okay, that's good now. They are gonna surrender soon enough. Now you can see that these super frigates can actually outmaneuver the slow ships, which would be this one, but you can see that it can also outmaneuver ship of the line because ship of the lines are essentially gonna have the similar mobility and speed as this one right here. So if you're in multiplayer and want to avoid that situation where enemies outplaying you like this one right here, then you can just bring in some fire support ships, which would be bomb catch, rocket ships to outplay them. Why aren't you firing? Okay, you're not loaded. Now this guy is in an upwind situation, but it has to move in to actually hit us, but its sails are all damaged. Oh, one's got away. Fuck. In naval battle, just as I told you about the small ships. Small ships are worthless in combat capacity, but even if you capture them in after naval battle, they don't really give that much prize money also. So what you want to focus on is capturing these ships, making sure that these heavy merchant ships surrender. So right now, let's see. If I manage to get this guy to surrender, then I would have 2 galleons and 1 6th rate, 2 6th rate. Okay, that's good enough. Now you can see this guy is too slow to move around in this direction, catch up with us, and put a fire upon us. So I can just move this direction slowly, keeping the enemy in the firing arc. Surrender, come on. Even if the battle's over, keep doing it, because if that battle over sign indicates routing, then you might not be able to capture this one after the battle. Keep going. Come on. Okay, good. That's it. That's the game. That one right there, you can try to follow them, but I'm not gonna do that because it takes too much time. So that's the game. So 2 things. These guys are designed to take some shots, has good maneuverability. Make sure that you stay the fuck away from the side of the enemy line, left and right side, which is where the enemy fleet's firing arc is located. Make sure that you are firing upon them while they cannot fire upon you. To achieve that, you have to be in the head of the enemy fleet formation or at the tail of the enemy fleet formation. And use the fucking Heavy Frigate and raise the super frigates. That's it.